colleague Parikshit Luthra, who is at the SIAM annual convention, and he has with him Shenu Agarwal, the MD and CEO of Ashok Leyland. Parikshit, over to you.
Well, the 63rd SIAM convention has kicked off, and clearly the big push coming from the government, from the Heavy Industries Minister Mahendra Nath Pandey and Nitin Gadkari, the Road Transport Minister, is a push towards biofuels, alternate fuels, and urging the industry to adopt that as soon as possible. Let me go across to Mr. Shenu Agarwal, MD and CEO of Ashok Leyland. Mr. Agarwal, the big word coming in from Minister Gadkari, phase out diesel vehicles, saying that if the industry does not phase out, the government will impose a heavy tax. Of course, this is something that the GST Council has to deliberate on, but what is your thought on additional taxation now on diesel vehicles?
No, I think it is a nice provocation that the minister made because of the huge gathering here. But overall, we think that the current government is very, very supportive of the efforts to move to cleaner mobility. And I think the industry is also taking those signals. And especially Ashok Leyland has been working on this for last 1 decade. And in the recent past, we have demonstrated a lot of progress in the area of alternative fuels. Recently, we launched our light commercial vehicles, which is 100% electric. In the past, we have done several forays into ethanol, methanol fuels in partnership with various people. Also into hydrogen, we have a very mature technology. I think what the minister said was more of a provocation, more of a message that I think the efforts have to be enhanced in this direction, and the country needs that. So I don't think, I don't think Minister was serious really about it, but it was more of a provocation.
But like though you say that he probably said it in jest, he was not serious, but a provocation. But this is already a highly taxed industry, and this is what SIAM always says: we're already highly taxed. We need some concessions. So do you think any additional taxation would make it more difficult to operate in certain segments?
See, I think instead of talking about the tax on diesel or petrol, I think we should talk more about the incentives that the government can provide on alternative fuels. I think that is what is going to really enhance the pace of adoption of these fuels. You know, Minister was right in saying that the technology is available. And the technology is available in India also. Of course, it needs to be matured a little bit more to get to mass scale. But other thing is also developing the ecosystem where the government as well as the private sector have to cooperate, you know, to get that ecosystem ready, whether it is the electric charging stations or the hydrogen fuel pumps or things of that sort. You know, I think that is where the most of the effort and the focus has to be. So, I mean, my personal argument would be, let us focus more on providing the right incentives, the right ecosystem to develop alternative fuels. You know, and I think once we do that, once we accelerate that, I think we will see that reality happening very, very fast.
What is the current percentage of diesel sales in your entire portfolio? And if we were speak about the industry altogether, what would be the percentage of diesel vehicles on Indian roads and the percentage of sale of diesel vehicles, especially in commercial vehicle segment?
See, commercial vehicles, diesel is very predominant right now because of the fact that we are very, very early or nascent stages of alternate fuels right now. It is still largely diesel. I think what has become popular other than diesel is CNG right now, which is, I think, about which is significant, but still under 10% of the total industry, right? I think although the diesel is predominant right now, I think in times to come, you will see a lot of movement happening into electric, into ethanol, even into hydrogen space.
Right. I would also like to ask you about your own roadmap. Recently, you decided to provide hydrogen fuel cell buses to NTPC. In your investor call, you said that there is a clear roadmap to have more alternate fuel vehicles, electric vehicles, CNG vehicles in your portfolio. What is your own roadmap to phase out diesel and move towards other fuels?
See, I think Ashok Leyland, as I said, you know, Ashok Leyland has been working on it for many, many years now. Even when these were not the buzzwords, Ashok Leyland had preempted this change, you know, a decade ago. And that is the reason that we have been able to lead some of this transformation right now. You know, whether we talk about electric, you know, we created the right structure within Ashok Leyland ecosystem to create Switch Mobility, which is now very much focused on electric light commercial vehicles as well as electric buses. We already have 400 or plus electric buses on roads right now. We recently launched our electric light commercial vehicles, which will be in market starting Q4 of this year. On the Ashok Leyland side, as you said, we are very proud of the fact that we have partnered with people like NTPC and Reliance to make very decent forays into hydrogen ecosystem. I think we are very, very focused. I think most of our investments would be in the space of alternate fuels going forward.
Right. So if last year's capex was upwards of 500 crores, how much would be your capex for this year, and how much of it would go towards electric and alternate fuels?
Yeah, as I said, while we are very, very focused on transforming our business into a cleaner mobility business, but diesel is going to stay for some more time, as we all know, right? In terms of capex, mainly the focus would be on alternative fuels. I would say, whether it is electric or hydrogen or anything else, because diesel, although already is very, very mature technology, we don't need to develop or put many investments into diesel right now. So the focus is going to be on alternate fuels.
Right. If I were to ask you, phasing out of diesel, well, the minister may have said something jokingly, but clearly the intention was to get the industry to phase out diesel as soon as possible. What is the current timeline, do you think, that the industry would need to phase out diesel completely, considering it's the predominant fuel in buses, not in buses, but in commercial vehicles, and also it's the choice for SUVs as well?
Yeah. See, it is hard to make a guess, because the reason I say that is because, as I said in the beginning, the whole ecosystem has to be transformed. It is not just the availability of an electric bus or a hydrogen truck. I think that will happen within a matter of a few quarters or few years, because I think that technology is very, very mature right now, right? I mean, I said that we already have, or shortly will have, an electric fuel cell hydrogen bus plying on the roads commercially in Ladakh and Leh region along with NTPC. Similarly, we have many trucks plying with Reliance right now, which are hydrogenized. We have already 400 electric buses. We are launching electric three-wheelers, electric light commercial vehicles. But the fact is that the ecosystem change has to happen much more faster. The country needs a lot of electric fast chargers. The country needs a lot of hydrogen fuel pumps. I think that will take some time. But the way the government is working right now, the way private sector is focused on it, I think it will happen sooner than later. But it's very difficult to give a time frame.
Okay, that's the word coming in from Ashok Leyland. They talk about how commercial vehicles at this point are predominantly diesel, but there is a shift happening there as well. CNG vehicles are picking up, and they are investing big time into the alternative fuel space. They have a very mature hydrogen fuel system as well. So, they're looking at sort of making that transition. But just remember that